Hi everybody, this is our annual video on protecting God's children. So this year our topic is boundaries. The church really thinks that it is important to not just have everybody have a relationship with God and to know Him and to love Him spiritually as far as their religion. But we also think that it is important because God made all of us and we are all special. We all deserve respect. We all deserve to be treated nicely and kindly by others. We think that being safe with our bodies, our hearts, our minds is also very important. So that's why we have these lessons once a year to really spend some time talking about ways that we can also keep our bodies and minds safe, as well as our religion. So I want you all to think about the word boundaries and kind of think about what that means to you. Boundaries separate one thing from another, whether it's things from one another, people from one another, people and things from each other. There are what's called physical boundaries, and those are ones that you can see with your eyes. So those are things like fences, doors, gates, certain things that block off a specific area. Now there's also boundaries that you can't see. For example, personal space. You're probably okay with best friends or siblings or parents being closer to you, maybe to give you a hug or a kiss, or to pat you on the back, but probably would not be so comfortable with that with a stranger. So those are things that we know are boundaries without having to see them. Like people don't walk around with like a hula hoop around themselves to like keep space around themselves, but we know that we don't go up to strangers and get in their personal space, and we also know that it makes us uncomfortable when people get too close into our personal space and we don't like it. Boundaries can also be emotional, having to do with your feelings. So if somebody at school is being really mean to you and they are bullying you and they're hurting your feelings, if you say, okay, well, I'm not going to spend time with this person, I'm not going to go do like sleepovers or go play with this person anymore, I'm not going to hang out with this person anymore, or to say, you know, I don't want to text or call this person anymore, that's a boundary that's protecting your feelings, your emotions from being hurt. So all of those types of boundaries, whether those boundaries protect your body or your feelings, you have a right to those boundaries. So just because you are younger, like yes, you have to listen to rules that like your parents give you at home or that your teachers give you in the classroom. Those rules set by adults who love you and care about you and want you to be safe, those rules should all be rules that help to keep you safe or help you learn or help you to succeed. Rules like making sure you get enough sleep, that you eat well, that you get your homework done, that you get outside and play and get some exercise and some sunshine, things that are good for you. But it is okay for you to have boundaries and say, you know, there are things that I'm not okay with that make me uncomfortable, if those things are making you feel unsafe. No adult that is genuinely looking out for you and cares for you is going to try to put you in a position that is unsafe for you or makes you very uncomfortable. So it's very important that you know what your boundaries are, that you know what you're comfortable with. What are you comfortable with physically? Who are the people that you're comfortable hugging and kissing and the people that you're not comfortable doing that with? Who are the people that you're comfortable standing close to or being alone with, and people that you're not comfortable doing that with? You also have to figure out where on your body you're comfortable with. Are you comfortable with somebody touching your hand but not your back? Are you comfortable with somebody touching your shoulder, but maybe not like fully giving you a hug. You also need to think about what boundaries you're okay with feeling wise. What sort of language are you okay with? What sort of treatment from your friends or your classmates, your teammates is okay for you, and what's not? Are there people who can joke around with you and then other people who can't? And then you also have to think about boundaries that are actions in your life that you're okay with. So there might be certain things that your friends or classmates or teammates want to do that you're not comfortable with. Things that might be against the rule, things that might even be against the law. If somebody wants to like steal a candy bar from a gas station, or if somebody wants to cheat on a test, things like that. You need to be able to know what your boundaries are so that you can tell people what those boundaries are. So if your friend asks you to do something you're not comfortable with, you can say to them, I'm not okay with that, I'm not going to do that. Or if somebody is in your personal space, to say, that makes me uncomfortable, I need you to back up. Or to be able to say to a parent, maybe, I'm not very comfortable giving this particular relative a hug. I don't want to, I'm not going to. You also have a right to say no to things. If somebody tries to make you do something that you don't want to do, you can say, no, I'm not doing that. And if that person doesn't respect your boundaries, which means that they stop trying to make you uncomfortable, then you need to go and get a safe adult that you trust, whether that's a parent, a coach, a teacher, a friend's parent, a neighbor, somebody that is an adult that you feel safe with, that you can tell what's going on to, and that can intervene and step in and help to communicate your boundaries to that person that is making you feel uncomfortable. And if that person still won't respect them, to remove you from that situation where you're around that person. If somebody does cross one of your boundaries, if somebody does something that makes you feel unsafe or uncomfortable, especially if they tell you to keep it a secret, that is a definite flag that says you shouldn't keep something a secret. If somebody does something to you or says something to you that makes you feel uncomfortable or unsafe, and then they tell you not to tell anyone, that is a sign that you should go and tell somebody you trust and feel safe with immediately, as soon as you can. So don't ever feel like you can't talk to an adult that you trust about situations where you felt uncomfortable or unsafe, or situations where somebody has not respected your boundaries. Whether that's physically causing you hurt or harm, whether that's emotionally causing you hurt or harm, hurting your feelings, saying nasty things to you, just not being nice, not treating you with respect. Those are all things that you have a right to have boundaries about, that you have a right to say no to, and that you have a right to talk to people that you trust about, so that they can make sure that you're not in that situation again. It's also important to know, I know that at this age, in this like 3rd to 5th grade, there's some of you that probably already have cell phones, or that might have access to the internet at home via like a portal or laptop, desktop, maybe even like through your TV if you have a smart TV. So it's very important to remember that you have a right to boundaries on the internet, or through text message or email, any type of communication, even if it's not in person, or any type of action, even if it's not in person, you can still have boundaries about. You can still say that something doesn't make you comfortable. So it's very important to have boundaries for yourself in those situations, like on the phone or online as well. The reverse of that is true too, though. You have to respect other people's boundaries in person and online. So if somebody says to you, hey, you know, that thing that you said, that joke that you made, you know, that made me very uncomfortable, you know, please don't do that, then you need to respect that person's boundary. If you are online, things that would be bullying in person are still bullying online. Like, there's things that you just should not say to other people, things that are putting them down, things that are mean, things that hurt their feelings. There are messages, pictures, videos that are not appropriate, that you shouldn't be sending and that you shouldn't be receiving. And if you are receiving those, that again is something that is unsafe and uncomfortable and needs to be told to an adult. So we have a couple of different activities that you have. So they kind of go along together. So the first one are boundary safety phrases. So in these boxes, we want you to write down things that can tell a person that you are around that they are crossing one of your boundaries. These are things like no, stop, I don't like that, don't do that, back up, don't touch me, that hurt my feelings, that wasn't nice, don't say that. So you can think of all the different things that you could possibly say to somebody to let them know that they are crossing or are close to crossing a boundary that you're not comfortable with, so that you have an idea of different things that you can say if you're ever in a situation where you do feel unsafe or uncomfortable. And after that is a series of questions that you should be able to answer, either because we've covered them directly or because you know the basics now about keeping yourself safe with boundaries. So these are questions that you should try to answer and that you should talk about with your parents. For example, is it okay to say no to an adult when it has to do with your safety? Absolutely. If an adult you don't know pulls up to you and says, get in my car, I want to show you, you know, there's a bunch of puppies that I have. Do you want a puppy? Like, you can say to that person, no, I don't know you, I'm not getting in your car, that's weird, and refuse to go. If a safe adult is the person who's making you uncomfortable, if somebody that you trust starts making you uncomfortable, then that person is not safe anymore, and you have to go to a different person that you trust and know is safe. All the different questions have to do with either how to deal with situations where you might be unsafe, or how to approach situations where somebody else might be uncomfortable or unsafe, and what you can do to help make them feel better or to help respect their boundaries. For example, what if you'd like to give a hug to someone and you're not sure if they want a hug or not? What should you do first? You should ask them. And we go through that as adults. I'm a hugger. I like to hug everybody. My best friend, not a hugger. Doesn't like to have people touch her. Doesn't like to shake hands. She's just not comfortable with that, with anybody. So even though I'm a hugger, I respect her boundaries by not hugging her. And then if she's having a really bad day or she's really upset, a situation where she might actually want a hug, I ask her if that would be helpful or not. You know, do you want a hug right now, or will that make it worse? Will that make you uncomfortable? So ask people about their boundaries if you're not sure. And if you're not sure if somebody knows your boundaries, you're totally able to tell them what those boundaries are so that they know what to expect and know what you're comfortable with.